tell me a little bit about, for our fellow colleagues that are in the audience, can you tell me a little bit about what is the SmartLab? How did you come to be so passionate about it? And just expand upon that a little bit.
Well, when this building came to fruition 2 years ago, it happened to be the timing sequence of things where we got some information about the SmartLab and the company that puts the SmartLab on. And SmartLab, what it is, it's STEM principles, really is what it is. So we focus on, the science, technology, engineering, and math component of things. There's a bunch of different stations, islands, whatever you want to call them, that kids end up rotating around and rotating through to. Anywhere from, graphic design, we have animation, we have like pneumatics where they can do that, we have Kinects, Zone tools, we have like architectural type things like home builder, punch design where kids build their own homes, you have 3D printers. So we have a lot of different things that we do that this company has written curriculum specifically for, that ties into the new technology standards, ties into ELA Common Core standards, math standards, the new science standards. So they have really done all the backline work and provided all of that stuff for us. I've got a very, very strong facilitator in mind that he knows what I'm thinking, and I'm like, hey, why aren't we doing this? And it's boom, go. It allows us to have a freedom in an educational setting where we don't feel like we're necessarily handcuffed, and we can challenge kids like we've never been able to challenge them before, in my eyes.
And maybe at their level.
At their level, but it's amazing to see how much higher they can go and what they can do and what some of our teachers thought and they can do that.
Tell me about, since we did make a pretty significant investment into this, tell me a little bit about the community feedback. What are you hearing from parents?
And school board meetings here to see what it was. I wanted people to see what we were doing, the investment that our community made, that our school board made, that is working, and our kids are, we're using everything in there and making worthwhile the expenditure and the expenses that it had. Some of the kids have been inviting people. That's a challenge that I've had, is had people invite people into the lab, and to be able to do that, do those different types of things. One thing that the facilitator talks about a lot is he talks about how is this going to help our community. The parent standpoint has been very, very well received. They see our kids working all the time. I kind of equate it to like, if you go to a museum or like the National History Museum in DC, you can watch all the people working on the bones and doing all that stuff behind the glass window. That's what we're doing. They're watching our kids, in action. So we've made it a place where people can come and see, do, and use.
If you could sum up the SmartLab in one sentence.
It goes back to what the girl asked me before. My goal in this building, and this is my sentence, my goal for this building, the SmartLab helps drive that, is for students to become life ready, have an authentic experience, have it be purposeful, and then have them be able to explore and be challenged.
2 years from now, I am going to be having students that have had this experience. What can I do at the high school level to make sure we keep this buzz going?
What's the purpose behind it? What is your outcome? What do you want to become, or what do you want to do with it? And I think kids can run with it. Not every kid loves the SmartLab. I'll be the first to admit that. But I can tell you that they're engaged and that they're challenged though. The center hub of my building, and we're going to rock and roll with this, and we're going to utilize this to put us and challenge our kids more than we could before we had this space.
Since having a SmartLab in school, what have you seen that has allowed you to believe in its success?
Have purposeful engagement and have like mindful exploration where they get the chance to choose an opportunity to do things that otherwise they might not get the opportunity to do. So where can I take this and go a step further with it? We see many, many kids doing that, and seeing the kids that are being challenged by it may not necessarily be a typical kid that you would think would be challenged by it. So I think we're exposing kids to many things of their likes and their interests, but also getting them to see new things that they didn't know they could do.
What advice would you give to someone who says that the SmartLab is too expensive to put in a school?
Good question. The experiences that we have got out of that lab and the engagement of the students, and going back to the students becoming life ready, and my philosophy of what I want the school to look like, you can't put a price tag on that. We have more kids doing more things in that lab, 350 of them for a semester all year. Encouragement would be come see it, come see what we do, come see what it is, and talk to our kids about it, because our kids are well versed and well knowledgeable of what this lab is and all those life ready skills that they need to take them to the next level.
So what's the biggest thing you've learned from your SmartLab experiences?
Well, I've learned to be more creative, basically, because, well, Mr. Mueller pushes me to go more along the ways too.
So maybe pushes you beyond your comfort zone or what you
Yeah.
thought you maybe could do?
Yeah.
I want you to tell me a little bit about your SmartLab experience.
Learn a lot about building stuff and editing. Like, say if you wanted to be a photographer, which is one of my dream jobs, I could learn to edit photos and stuff. And
Do you think some of the things or skills you've learned in the SmartLab setting has helped you with any other classes around the building or?
a little bit with science, because it has some stuff to do with science, like solar energy is one of my things. When I did Connects, we did solar energy car.
Explain the solar energy card to me thing a little bit. What was that?
Well, what we did is we made it out of Connects, which was like little building things, and then you put a solar panel on top of it, and since the sun wasn't really out during the winter, we got a heat lamp and we put it on it, and it was driving itself. It was pretty neat.
Really? And you guys did that from start to finish?
Yeah.
Wow. Tell me about Mr. Mueller's role in everything.
He's really cool. He's really nice to us, and he really helps out. Like, if you don't understand something, he'll help you understand. He won't give you the answer to something. He'll help you.
Tell me about you. You brought up something you're learning. You typically have a partner, right? And can you explain to how that process works? I mean, or would you rather do it alone?
Oh no, it's a lot more fun when you have a partner, because it's something to share an experience with someone, because you can pick your partner. So it's like something you can share with your friends.
Do you and your partner ever disagree?
Well, last time I was with someone I wasn't really friends with, but yeah, we disagreed a lot, but we always got to an understanding that would help us.
Very cool. So there's going to be other principals and superintendents that are going to watch this, okay? What would your advice to them be with respect to, do you think they should consider a SmartLab in their schools?
I really do think, because it really helps you understand the future, and like say you want to do something that would have to do with something in the SmartLab, it'll help you in the future and help you understand more about other things, and it can help you with your other classes.
Great. My first question is, what's the biggest thing you think you've learned from the SmartLab?
I really like that you learn a lot of things about like the real world, about like other things like engineering and science and technology, and it's a lot of fun.
Okay. Do you feel like the SmartLab has helped you in your other classes in general, like the thinking process?
Yeah, Mr. Mueller really pushes us to think hard and when we're writing like our journals, and that's definitely helped me in like science and social studies, because we have to write a lot, and in ELA we have to write a lot. SmartLab, you've got a 7-day journal, and it's just on slides, and it'll say like, so on day 1 and day 2 you have to write questions that you have and vocab from the learning launcher, and then on day 3 you write your SMART goal, which is your goal that you want to accomplish. What you're doing, it has helped you in the real world, or how it relates in your classes. You have to try and persevere and say, how could I do this that's the same but a little different?
Yeah, thinking outside the box a little bit.
Or how can I tweak this to make it work?
Right. Do you think differently since kind of going through the SmartLab?
Definitely. A lot of the time I think I used to kind of just think, well, I guess I could do this, but now I think, I bet I could do this. I'm more confident about my decisions that I made for deciding.
If there was a principal or a superintendent that watches this and was maybe considering about putting this in their school, would you recommend it?
Yes, definitely. It's fun, and it's kind of like recess, but it's with your mind kind of instead.
Can you just talk a little bit, what makes you so passionate about the SmartLab? What made you so interested in it?
So for me, as a kid, I probably wasn't maybe the strongest student. I probably tried to. I found I had to learn a lot myself by doing or inquiring. So a lot of times in my classes, I would struggle with things being explicitly taught. And this is personally me, so I was really intrigued by the SmartLab and the investigation process, and that's why I'm so passionate about it, because I get to talk to them about their science class and how they can apply it to what we do in the labs. So that's where my passion comes from as far as facilitating the SmartLab.
Okay, I want to ask you a question. Curriculum's curriculum. Okay, so you can purchase the bundle, the SmartLab bundle, and that gets plopped in, and we create the room. Okay, but it's still the teacher and the facilitator. What's allowed you to be successful?
Every day I learn something new from the kids, and so for example, I'm always trying to read more on the curriculum that we have. I'm always trying to talk to my science teachers and my math teachers about what they're covering in class, so it can enhance their lab experiences. But then when you leave the lab, I tell the kids, how is this helping you in science and math?
My question to you is, as a high school principal, you're creating critical thinkers. You're creating students that want to investigate. How do I need to prepare for those students to enter my building in 2 years?
How do I provide the opportunity for my staff and my kids to think at a higher level? We have some opportunities at our intermediate school and in our SmartLab that gives them that opportunity to think that way. Mm-hmm. But because of my lab experiences, if I were to go back into being a regular ed teacher, I know I would be a stronger teacher, because I would be exposed and I would not be so afraid to fail, and I would be more willing to try different things, inquiry based. I think questioning gets us a lot of places.
In one sentence, explain to me the SmartLab experience.
A student last year, I was frustrated with their thinking, and I said to the student, I said, why aren't you thinking outside the box? Why aren't you these students? I wanted to get into an argument with them, and I said, why aren't you doing that? They said, you know what, Mr. Miller? Walk down the hall each day, and I see you. I know you're greeting me at the door, and I know I got to turn my mind on. He goes, I know I got to get thinking. I know I'm going to get outside the box. He goes, unfortunately, when I leave, I can shut it down or turn it off a little bit. So I challenged that kid. I said, well, quit doing that. Mm-hmm. Quit thinking that way when you leave. And the SmartLab experience, in one really long sentence, is a way of thinking that develops you into a stronger person.